Welcome to episode 54 of The Luxury Travel Marketer. I'm your podcast host David, co-owner and co-founder of Jade Wolf Marketing. Before we dive into today's topic, we just recently launched our Patreon. For you guys out there who don't know what Patreon is a website that helps content creators and people like us to develop a second revenue stream if they're putting out useful, entertaining content. In our case, that's obviously the podcast and our weekly blogs. We are a marketing agency. We make our money providing services, but in the modern times, especially now for the Corona crisis, we need to have additional revenue streams to grow and keep afloat. So if you want to support us there's free tiers that you can do. All of them get you special benefits, special access to us, and to our content strategy. You can influence kind of like what topics we cover. So if you're a person who cannot hire an agency but really would like to know more about a specific topic, that's a great way to do it. You can access that at patreon.com/jadewolf. I repeat, patreon.com/jadewolf. If you're a business who is on the edge of kind of like investing into marketing or thinking about your next marketing plans for 2021, and if you want to get through this crisis, through this pandemic with your pipeline intact, go to jadewolfmarketing.com. Go to our resource section, check out our podcast archive, our blog archive, check out our download section, download one of our ebooks, learn a little bit about data-driven marketing, about luxury travel marketing, the way we do it. And if you are serious about transformation and doing things differently and really scaling up your business, fill out our callback request form. We only take on clients that can spend at least $50,000 per year. We established that rule because we got too many requests from solo entrepreneurs and really small business startups who don't have much marketing budget at all. And we cannot really help you if you're not willing to invest into your business and into your marketing. So check that out. We would be happy to have a chat if you're serious about doing a project together. So today's episode is going to be about implicit codes in luxury marketing or in luxury branding. So what are implicit codes? Implicit codes are basically something from, communication science, psychology. It's things that subtly, not verbally or directly, communicate certain aspects about you or, about your product, about your service. You could assume that, if you're saying I'm a product X or a brand X, the implicit code would say, I'm actually brand Z, and if there's a mismatch, then you have a problem. So thinking about implicit codes in design and marketing and branding is really important. That's why we want to devote an episode to it. Obviously, Jade Wolf Marketing is not mainly a luxury branding agency or luxury design agency. We work with luxury designers, we work with luxury brand specialists, but it's always in the context of, doing direct marketing, building funnels, driving direct bookings and lead generation for our clients. So now that we know what implicit codes are, why do you need them? Well, I mentioned already, if you have a disconnect, if you're not congruent, right, between the type of brand that you say you are and the type of brand that you look like or feel like, your customer's gonna be triggered to feel suspicious, apprehensive, worrisome. And even if they engage with your salespeople, they maybe reserve something. They might cancel the booking. They might, become tire kickers or ask a lot of questions, make the process really difficult for you, just because there was something missing in your marketing and your representation in the first place. So that's why you need to be aware of the implicit codes that you have in your design and your marketing, especially in luxury, where high net worth individuals, affluent customers are really discerning and picky and suspicious of you sometimes if you're the real thing, and you need to work the right codes into your process, into your whole production. Why is that important? Well, you can, if you listen to last week's episode, we talked about a concept from neuromarketing and behavior science called emotional resonance or emotional relevance. And I would say that if emotional resonance is the process that is happening when people feel the right emotions when engaging with your brand online or in person, And then implicit codes are basically the tools to achieve that, to facilitate the process and achieve what I would call emotional induction, right? So warming up the emotions, starting to make these emotions bubble to the surface, to the conscious mind, and making the prospect feel a certain way so they're in the right mind frame to buy, right? So again, emotional relevance, resonance is basically the type of effect that you want to induce in your prospects through the application of implicit codes in your marketing and your design, right? So that's a big concept, and that's quite difficult to wrap your head around because it relates to marketing psychology and behavioral science, and it's very advanced. But it's usually, a make or break type of thing for a lot of brands that kind of like fail at doing that. And often, we have companies that come to us and they listen to our presentation because they have a project and a budget, and then we show them our presentation, which just shows them, okay, who we are as an agency, what our process looks like, what a basic funnel is that we could build and customize, and why we are qualified to, advise people and consult them and work on their project. And then they come out and say, but what is the secret? What is the platform? What is the magazine? What is the social media network where I need to buy ads? Where do I need to buy an email list? What do I need to do? And it's really disturbing and sad. And obviously, we're trying to, keep these people away from us and improve our process so we not have these people listening to our presentations. But it boils down to that there is no magic bullet in luxury marketing. There's no magic bullet in digital marketing in general or marketing as a whole. It's all about your process. It's all about your attention to detail. It's about your psychological understanding of your market, of your prospects, about things like emotional resonance, about emotional induction, implicit codes, emotional triggers. These kind of things, if they're not worked in at every stage of your marketing funnel, your advertising, your landing page, your web design, your forms, your checkout, your product or service presentation, your copywriting, you will, not be able to convince people consistently and get the results that you want. There is no just quick fix where tomorrow you can transform your business for very little money. To be fair, a lot of these companies or businesses actually are on the smaller side when we experience that, and their budgets as well. And they're usually obviously trying to more elicit free information from us and know how and get that magic bullet so they can do it cheaply by themselves. That is a sad scenario that we still run into as a new agency sometimes, because we're very positive and upbeat, and we want to help people when they reach out to us and obviously show them what we can do. So that's a frustrating experience for both sides. So if any of these, any of these businesses are listening right now to the podcast, just go through the episodes. That we have now more than 50 episodes in the backlog. Go to our blog. We have more than 20 blog posts. Download one of our guides and actually read them. Actually, look at the stuff that we provide for free, because that's going to enable you to understand the detail and the diligence and the skill that is necessary to do good luxury marketing. And it's going to make you more appreciative if you're reaching out to an agency and want to actually do work with them. It's going to turn you into a better buyer. That's what I'm saying. And it's going to make life easier for you even if you want to do try to facilitate the approach yourself and your own in-house team or whatever it might be. So that little rant aside, I apologize for that. Back to the topic. So yeah, we have emotional resonance, emotional induction, and implicit codes. They're related to emotional purchase triggers. What are emotional purchase triggers in this world? Well, those are the emotions that you want to induce. Those are the things that you need to reflect with your codes. There can be things in luxury like abundance, power, status, beauty, nature, harmony, transcendence, catharsis. It can be things, like dominance. There's a wide variety of purchase triggers. It can be even things like guilt or other things. It really depends. If you're a nonprofit trying to get philanthropists, if you're a yacht company trying to get that really eccentric billionaire to commit to a big shipbuilding project for you, if you trying to sell charters to like a family from a famous athlete, and you just want to like appeal to their sense of being elite and part of the jet set. It really depends, and you have to like customize it to your business. You have to deep dive into what your customers really want from you on an emotional level to be able to reflect these emotions for your codes. And that's the reason why, as Jade Wolf, we always recommend a strategy project first, a workshop setting that's usually a couple weeks long, where we try to interview your salespeople, look at your historical data, come up with bring in your own benchmark data, bring in our own opinions and expertise, and trying to build personas and build a process and map out an action plan for your marketing that is going to account for all these intricacies and all that finesse. Because people are sadly so blunt these days, because they believe that using technology, using Facebook ads or Google ads is good digital marketing. It can be if all your other elements are right and you have enough data there and enough audience to basically sell your service or product. But I always like to say, for example, Google and Facebook only make up 60% of the digital ad spend in the world, and there's a reason for that. These other 40% are influencers, publishers, associations, all kinds of magazines, email list owners. It can be so many different things. Direct mail, sending actually customized things via the mail service in the real world, can work wonders if you do it with a data-driven mindset, if you have the right emotional resonance and you really think about what you're doing. And those are the things we recommend to clients, because when it fits their need, their project, what they're trying to achieve. And if we're dealing with open-minded people, and I hope that our listeners are open-minded, it can work wonders, right? It can be transformative for their business. But there is an investment, there's a cost associated with it, and not only of money and trust to, for example, an agency like us, but also, internally, like to commit to change, to commit to trying something new, to try to think out of the box and be a little bit modern and different. And because that's the only way, sitting on old-fashioned, traditional, outdated methods in times of pandemics, digitalization, digital transformation, emerging markets, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You should ask yourself that question if you still stuck to your old ways and you're not willing to learn and evolve with the times. So implicit codes, there are multiple ways you can use them. One thing that this episode is focusing on is obviously in your branding, in your design, right? I'm going to talk about some examples in a second where you can think about these codes and what they could mean, and how you might be using them already. Because a lot of people use some of the implicit codes in luxury because there's they call it maybe the luxury dream, or the luxury aesthetic, the type of visual language, the certain it factor, the glamorous factor, whatever it might be, and a certain aura. It's all really like wishy-washy, Milton Cloud type of words, which if you really dive into what the people mean with that, they usually cannot tell you. They will say, I'll tell you when I see it. But that's obviously not scientific. That's not good marketing. We need to be able to backwards rationalize what are we doing, what are we doing for our employer, what are we doing for our clients, what are we doing for our own business. So so we're going to look at design. But there's obviously ways to use implicit codes in copywriting. We covered that a little bit in our podcast as well and on our blog, and that's a whole world by itself. There's ways to do it, a wonderful new world of how to do it in rich media, in video, in audio experiences, and that's another topic in itself as well that we have partially covered on the podcast, but we're going to cover it more in the future, especially since we're also going to want to launch our own vlog this year. We have our podcast episodes already on YouTube. If you like to listen to podcasts on YouTube, just Google Jade Wolf Marketing or the Luxury Travel Marketer. You can subscribe there. And we're also going to start uploading actual vlogs, so you can look at our faces and see that we're regular people, just like you, people made of flesh and blood and bone, and you just want to do good work and be professional and deliver value. And we're going to do some screen shares. We're going to build some funnels. We're going to run some scenarios, some math to show you some cool things you can do. We hope that's gonna like help, hammer down the fact that data-driven marketing is not, like something that people cannot understand, or there's some weird magic bullet that's the trade secret that we have as an agency. If we would have any trade secrets, honestly, if you have 50 plus podcast episodes, or all the blogs and the guides that we release, and now the vlogs that we're going to launch, like it would probably be somewhere in there. There's no trade secret, there's no magic, there's no magic bullet. It is just research, education, hard work, attention to detail, studying psychology, trying to follow the industry, trying to think outside of the box, being creative, being authentic as well. That's the key. That's the key. And if you are looking for the magic bullet, maybe you should start thinking about why you have that opinion, why you are looking for a short, quick solution. When there's actually hard work involved in doing great luxury marketing or great marketing in general. So let's talk about implicit codes in branding. Some examples are the use of space, right? More space, being luxurious, is often associated with having space on your website, on your landing pages, and your app design, and your advertising, how much ad space you buy. That's why double page spreads and print advertising in luxury are so popular and always will be popular as long as print exists, because you have space. You can have the picture of a blue sky with an Embraer jet blasting through the clouds, and the logo minimalistic in the side. That just works. It just works because there's a lot of powerful implicit codes you can communicate there. Color schemes, right? Certain colors induce certain emotions. Ferrari red, right? Tiffany turquoise, the Louis Vuitton monogram. Colors can have a lot of effects, especially if through brand marketing over time, historically, you have built up a certain association with that color. Obviously, you can just Google color wheel, color psychology, and read up on that, and that should give you a first idea on how you can use color in the implicit code color in your luxury branding. Then models, people, right? Do you want to show inclusivity? Maybe using models of color, Asian models, Latinos, whatever it might be, depending on where you are in the world, might make sense. Maybe you want to sell, maybe you're a brand from Hong Kong, right? A jewelry brand, and you want to obviously sell to wealthy Chinese, then maybe it makes sense to use Chinese models in certain settings, or at least Asian looking models. It's important. Sometimes people obviously get that the wrong way. They stick to a certain type of model or a certain type of beauty, which I think is a mistake. It should be varied. It should be allow for different types of people to be featured in different types of scenarios. But it depends on your brand, and it depends at the end of the day on your decision. Facial expressions, do people look distant, thoughtful, bored, happy, anticipation, excitement, seductiveness? These are kind of all implicit codes that you can express through the way you stage an editorial shoot, or the type of stock footage that you use in your marketing, in your website, in your landing page, in your ads. And you should really think about that. You should take time. It's not like, oh, my gut feeling tells me this image looks good, or I really like this photographer, I'm just gonna let him run wild. You should think about that. Develop better briefs. Sit down with the creative people. Talk about this kind of stuff. Get their input. Get the input of your team. Try to make it an effort to have attention to detail. This is the right way to have better advertising and better marketing. Settings, location, scenarios. Do you want, for your luxury travel package about the Mediterranean, do you want to have a shoot pictures of the Colosseum or the Vatican, or some marbled kind of dinner scenario, late night dinner party? Do you want to show just the yacht cruising through blue waters, or do you want to have a jet cruising through about to land on a private airport? In the background there's the backset of some beautiful skyline of a metropolitan city. These kind of scenarios, you need to think about it. What do you want to express? And also scenarios, especially when you're using people in combination with your product. Boating, yachting. Do you want to see people celebrating? Maybe people that are younger, sexy, alive, happy, being dressed well, fashionable, successful, celebrating something with a bottle of champagne that they're just popping on the deck of your yacht on a sunny day. Those kind of things, if you make it conscious instead of subconscious, why you're using certain things, can really empower your marketing. Lines. Do you like straight lines in your web design, in your landing pages, in your email marketing? Or do you like curves? Curves can often be interpreted as a little bit more intricate, maybe historical, maybe like this type of French Renaissance elegance, while lines can be more, clear lines can be more minimalistic, technological, modern, cutting edge. There's different codes, again, there that you can unpack. Fonts, serif, without serif, curved calligraphy fonts. All those kind of things can, again, undermine your brand, enhance your brand, communicate the right emotions, induce the right emotions, or cause lack of trust, lack of willingness to buy, lack of willingness to move forward and convert. And last but not least, interactivity. How do you use video, sliders? Where do you embed music? Buttons, when people things animate, move, change. That also can tell a lot about, what type of company, what type of brand and product you are. And, people often give way too much control to some web design company or design agency, branding agency. And obviously these people want to do their best. But you need to be able to have smart briefs, work with them, and not just be like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm overworked, I'm just going to let them handle it. And if I don't like it, I will let them do 10 revisions until I like it, instead of just sitting down and giving them a good, solid brief, developing it together with them, and not just going like, oh, I'm going to let them make 3 designs, 3 mock-ups for me, I'm going to choose the one that I like, and then they can develop that further. That is really an outdated, time-wasting, money-wasting, terrible process. We at Jade Wolf don't do that. And we always, lots of times, get flagged from that in our presentations and sales process for people wanting things up front. They're wanting samples, designs, everything, ideas, customized to their business for free. People who ask for that, me as an agency owner, as a startup owner, my alarm bells start ringing. So if you're somebody who's not willing to take the time and energy and resources to really develop something solid, foundational when it comes like how you want to represent your company online in the modern world towards affluent prospects who can become patrons for years if you do a great job, then you are a silly person. And I don't want to deal with silly people. I want to deal with professionals who understand what is at stake and don't just want to make the cheapest deal, get the biggest bang for their buck, and just move on if they cannot get it for free or they cannot do it in-house, right? So once you have your implicit codes in your branding or in your copywriting, in your rich media uncovered, listed out, you're thinking about emotional consistency, emotional resonance, emotional induction, where you can crank it up, where you have to turn it down, where you can be a little bit more distant with it, where you have to be up close and intense to get the effect that you need. Then you're starting to think in the right terms, emotional beats, apart from technology and data, how can I have the right emotional beats and the right story, the red string that goes through my whole marketing. Doing an audit is a good way to start if you already have some kind of marketing website whatsoever. Just looking through a new lens at what you're doing. We try to do that in our strategy project and workshops as a part of what we sell and what we offer. And that's usually a really important part to kind of uncover these things. And then coming up with maybe a slight rebrand based on the emotions that uncover, the implicit codes that are lacking that you need to implement. And also you can, at that point, become smart and use data, sales data, data silos that you haven't touched before in your company, if it's a bigger company. You make data from your My salespeople if you're a hotel, from your food and beverage, from your previous bookings, industry trends. You can incorporate a lot of cool things here if you take the time and if it's not rushed and you don't try to do it for cheap. So that's, I think, a good closing thought for our episode on implicit codes and luxury branding. Please, if you want to support this podcast and keep it going, because we cannot keep going if we don't make any money, go to patreon.com/jadewolf, become a supporter. You have cool options, to interact with us there. If you're a business who has a marketing budget and a project in luxury that you need help with, go to jadewolfmarketing.com, check out our resource section, fill out our callback request form if you are at least able to spend $50,000 per year on your marketing. You don't have to necessarily spend that all with us, but we want to work with businesses who can afford to spend at least a normal amount of marketing, because in reality, $50,000 is not a big amount of money. And if you really want to dominate a market, penetrate a market, you need to actually do it with a little bit more. But you need to start somewhere, and we came up with that number because we thought, okay, businesses who are willing to be able to invest that, they have the right mindset, and they're probably going to go somewhere, and we want to be along for the ride, helping along the way. So I hope you liked that episode. I hope you will tune in next week. I hope you stay safe and healthy, and your loved ones are safe and healthy. This is David signing off. Goodbye.